Hello and welcome to another Solar Pros episode. As usual, I'm here with Manuel Ramirez and Cesar Delgadillo. Today's special guest, we're excited because he's a guy that we've known for a long time, but just picking his brain for a few minutes even before we started the recording, I already learned a lot. I don't know about you.
Same here, man. So, even though he's been working with us for a very long time, it's like you always get to know a little bit more once you sit down and have a one-on-one conversation with someone.
Definitely. And that's why we wanted to bring Jeff Stoner out here for a new episode, and maybe you can share a little bit of your background and your wisdom in the industry and everything like that, Jeff. So welcome to the show, man.
All right, yeah, thank you for having me. Hi everybody, good morning. Jeff Stoner with Yuma Electric Service, where you get award-winning customer service with Yuma's only forever workmanship warranty. And that's right, it's the only forever workmanship warranty.
Wow.
Keyword.
A little bit about me. I've been doing electricity for about 36 years. I've actually been in the business since I was a sophomore in high school, between sophomore and junior year.
Oh, wow.
I started my summers, playing around in some houses with some people.
Nice.
Straight out of high school, went to work at Bonus Electric. Cy Bombard was the boss at that time, so that was cool. Own my business 21 years now.
Okay.
And we are up and running, so we do residential, we do commercial, pretty much troubleshoots, repairs, new construction. And then we play with the solar world a little bit as well.
Nice.
But since we've been working hand in hand with Titan Solar, we no longer do solar installations ourselves. We just do the panel upgrades, the troubleshooting and things like that.
Which is a very important part of the solar process.
Absolutely.
We can't get solar on your roof without that step, right?
Right.
So.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how long have you been partnered with Titan already?
With Titan Solar, I've been partnered with them for about 3 years now.
3 years?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Maybe a little bit longer, but it's been through a couple of management changeovers, and right now Raul is doing an awesome job.
I agree.
I really appreciate him. He's really taken off with this thing, and it's running just like a seamless machine. This thing is going
I
great.
feel the same way. I feel that with our experience with our jobs, we don't have those constant situations where it seems like for some reason something is getting stuck and no one can figure it out unless we step in. And I've never experienced that with Raul. And whenever there's an issue,
he figures it out.
He's the first one.
He's the man.
He doesn't sit there and ask a bunch of questions and try. He says, well, you know what? Who's the customer? Let me see what I can figure out. And
so Jeff, you're
shout outs to Raul out there.
Quick shout out to Raul. Yeah. So you're the man in charge of all of our main panel upgrades in our Titan install jobs, correct?
Correct.
All right. Just want to make sure, because maybe some of the guys who are out there, they're not aware, but for them, everybody out there, listen to this. This is the man that's always taking care of our jobs, making sure everything goes well with the installation.
Yeah, and another shout out to all you installers out there. There is a lot of surprises that are coming up that's costing you guys money in your commissions. Mm-hmm. Let me go out and do a free evaluation for you before you sign contract. Before you give that customer a number, let me go out and kind of be the eyes for you, because I have the electrical sense. I can tell you if we have to do an MPU, the main panel upgrade.
Right.
I can tell you when we're going to need a D-rate. I can tell you about those hidden code violations that you might not be seeing that the inspector is going to nail you on and make you fix at your expense because you didn't see those. So I put that out there to all the sales crews. Some of the people have actually hit me up and taken that offer and accepted it. And I'm saving you money. I'm putting that money back in your pocket where it belongs.
Absolutely, and you know what you're going up against before we even put the contract together. So it's nice to have that set of eyes, that expertise,
all that experience.
Right, 36 years, 36
years,
21 years here, and with your own personal business.
Company.
Right. That's awesome. So, given that you have all that experience, what are maybe some top 3 tips for energy efficient that you can share with homeowners or people out there, even if they're not just homeowners, people
some real tips that you can say, from all the different tricks and schemes and ways that people think they can say. I know people disconnect all their their devices from the outlets because they say, I don't want to draw that. Maybe talk about some tips and maybe some myths as well. I don't know if you have any in mind.
First and foremost, the biggest consumer of electricity in our house is your AC unit.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's very important to make sure that AC unit is up to standards, that you're not losing the SEER ratings. Mm-hmm. And I am not an AC contractor, but I will tell you right now, make sure you have a great AC unit. Make sure your filters are changed. I use the real generic thin filters and change them every 30 days. The other ones, to me, restrict the airflow. The more
they're so thick.
the thicker ones, the HEPA filters and things like that. I know that they're good, but they restrict airflow, and maybe that's an issue. But definitely, you need to check your AC unit and be up to date on that.
And that's a good point, because sometimes we say, I'm going to get the good one so I don't have to change it in a year. So it's best to go with the generic, but do it every 30 days
keep it maintenance.
versus
Right.
sticking something in there that's supposed to be high end and forgetting about it for 6 months to a year.
Well, and then there's the cost factor of that too, of that really thin generic filter versus the more expensive high-end filter. So it depends on your unit. Talk to your AC technician or AC company about that, because I am not the AC professional, but to me, number one consumer is going to be your AC unit, and if that thing is running top notch, you will save money.
Nice.
Now, a quick question in regards to AC. Some people, when they leave the house, they boost it up and then they bring it down whenever they're gone. What do you recommend? Always keep it at a set temperature, or when you leave the house? Some people turn it off when they leave and they turn it on when they come back. I don't know if that's a myth that people say it probably wastes more electricity by turning the power on your AC. So what do you think about that?
That really would be better answered by an AC company.
Okay.
I could tell you my opinion is, yes, go ahead and turn your AC up a couple of degrees, but not too far out of character when you're gone, or get the programmable thermostat is the best way to handle that. And so it's programmed to maybe go up a couple of degrees when you're not home, and then maybe go down to where you want it, maybe a half hour or so before you get home.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I've never understood the turning it off. To me, is like turning your car off at a red light to save gas, right?
It's just like we've come across it since we talk with a lot of people.
Like you mentioned, though, maybe a couple of degrees. If you keep it at 78, maybe bump it up to 80 while you're gone. Especially there's the Nest. So for those that have those that you can control with your phone, my wife does that. So if we're away, she puts it at 80, and then before we head home, she could bring it down to 78.
If you just shut it off, or if you set it up too high, your AC will be running continuously trying to get back down to that comfort level when you get home. So now you're really counterproductive, because now you're making that AC unit run even longer and work harder. Okay. I would say the second thing that you really want to do, water heaters. Electric water heaters is what I'm talking about right now. Those are boiling water just to maintain temperature all the time. So when you're in bed sleeping at night, your water heater gets cooled down, the temperature starts to drop, so that heater wants to raise that temperature, so it's going to turn back on. Best thing that you can do is put a time clock on that. Okay. And just put a time clock on your water heater. I have it set at my house for 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours at night. There is a manual switch that you can hit, and you can let it run as long as you want. Say we do a laundry on Saturday and you got 25 loads of laundry. Go ahead and turn that switch on, and it'll turn itself back off when the dial goes back to reset. And it resets. But that's a really good energy saver.
Oh, that's a great tip. Yeah.
So something most people are not aware about.
Right.
Yeah, and that's a real simple fix. Right. It is a couple $100, I guess, maybe $150, $200, something like that. But it's going to save your electricity over the long haul.
It's going to save you more in the long run.
Yeah, exactly. Third thing I would say is LED lights. Go LED, get rid of your fluorescents, get rid of the incandescents. LED lights they last 50 to 100,000 hours. They do fluorescent ballasts create heat. So now if that heat's building up in your house, your AC is turning on. There's a lot of different factors where energy savings with LED is definitely the way to go right now.
And they look a lot nicer too. Yeah. They brighten your house a lot better.
Oh, absolutely. They've got a higher lumens rating. It's really the most energy efficient way to go as far as lighting.
Yeah.
Going back to what you had mentioned about unplugging things.
Yeah.
My mom actually does that in Scottsdale.
Yeah. And
she, by unplugging her microwave, unplugging the little thing, her TV, I mean, she's a fanatic. And when she does that, she actually saved $30 off of her electric bill.
Wow.
So I would say that's not a myth. That actually worked.
And that's why I asked. That's why I asked the expert, because, there's some sort of draw that's being pulled anytime something is plugged in.
Correct. Yeah. When you have your TV turned off, you have that little red dot that's still on there. Yeah. So electricity is still flowing through that, even though you're not using it. It's just not using as much electricity, but there is still components in there that are requiring electricity. Just as an example. And then your microwaves. Do you really need that clock on your microwave to be running?
I was going to talk about the kitchen. Like whenever we go to a house, I see a lot of kitchens that have their microwave, a lot of appliances plugged in. And I think if you're not really using it, might as well just plug it off, and then at least they're not drawing that electricity
Exactly.
like you mentioned.
Yeah, and she did. She saved about $30 a month off of her electric bill, surprisingly.
Wow,
I was kind of shocked.
So to recap, we got four tips, right?
Yes,
We got
the
the AC, right? Make sure that your AC is running at a high level and you're changing your filters and all that good stuff. Then you talked about the water heater, right? And setting up a clock for that, especially if it's electric, of course. And we also mentioned the third one, LED lights, and plus your home will look better and brighter. And actually unplugging your devices and your appliances will actually save you some power as well.
Right.
Yes,
You know,
nice.
and there is some myths that are out there that we should probably address. There's these things that people are out selling right now that I honestly got to say they just don't work.
Okay.
The word or the brand or the style is what they call KVAR energy management systems.
All right.
KVAR energy management systems are meant to do harmonic balancing and to do all these things that, you know, they say that by harmonically balancing your appliances that it's going to reduce your electric bill.
Okay.
That's false. What happens, that was actually meant for the industrial world. When you've got factories and you've got like the GM plants, in that way you want to harmonically balance the motors, you want to do those things in
Makes
the larger
sense.
industrial world.
Yeah.
And it actually could help to prolong the life of the motor.
Gotcha.
It's not going to reduce your electric bill. And so people are going out and selling these units saying, oh, well, we're going to save you electricity. We're going to make your appliances run better and it's going to save you. And it doesn't.
Okay.
It flat out, it does not. It's a lie. It's a farce. It's a myth. So if people are selling you these KVAR energy, I'm telling all of you out there, if KVAR energy management systems or these systems come up to your doorstep, don't buy them.
Is this like a little box?
Yeah, it's a little box.
And you need a permit to install those.
You technically need a permit to do anything
Okay.
electrically, and I'm going to talk on the electrical side because that's just what I do. I'm an electrical contractor. If I was to add an outlet off of an existing outlet, I have to pull a permit. If I was to take that first outlet and have to move it 6 inches, that's a permit.
That's a permit.
So if you're adding, installing, altering any circuit at all by code, you are supposed to pull a permit for that. So that's another thing too. That they have to be permitted, whatever you do. I do advocate surge protection systems. Okay. So there is people that try to say, well, I'm going to sell you this KVAR management system that's going to do surge protection. Yes on the surge protection, no on energy management. It's not going to save you any electricity. Gotcha. You do definitely, I highly recommend surge protection systems, especially in the grid that we have. The power outage that we just had in the storm last night, I spent my day jumping from job to job to job, where people had appliances, their TVs, their air conditioning system,
refrigerators,
food
goes bad.
They burned out because when the power went out, there was instances that I talked to people where they said when the power went out, they lost the neutral first, so it created a high voltage surge.
Gotcha.
Then when APS turned the power back on, there was that boost of electricity too that it created, in some homes, it created a surge.
Yeah.
And so that surge protection, you definitely want to get, you want to buy a quality one of those as well.
Okay. So just to make sure we understand, as far from a surge protection angle, does that particular box help with that? I know from an energy standpoint, it doesn't save you any energy, but does it help for that type of situation on a surge protection side?
Well, yes and no. Some of those systems out there like that KVAR, their main purpose is to try to tell you that they're going to save you electricity. They're not trying to tell you they're going to do surge protection.
That's how they sell it.
Yeah, because that's what's interesting to a consumer, saying you're going to save money on your electric. And so that's what they're running with that concept, right? But
right, and that's not true. Okay. It's not, and it's just a flat out lie.
Okay.
And
so you would definitely not recommend it. You wouldn't buy it. If somebody wanted to install it in your house for free, maybe, but not even that, huh?
Not even.
Okay.
No, because then you will have to get a permit eventually.
Yeah.
Well, what's the purpose for it? I mean, if it's not going to work, then why should I even have it on my house?
Is there a risk that if somebody didn't install it correctly, there could be, some sort of short or something? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you're dealing with electricity and you're connecting it to a breaker, you are putting live power to it. So yeah, if it's done incorrectly, there could be a problem. I personally had one. Mm-hmm. I bought into that thinking, oh yeah, it's going to do this. It did nothing. My electric bill was the same. It did not reduce my bill. In fact, my electric bill went up. And
it was using power.
Yeah, it's using power.
I have a customer, as a matter of fact, I just talked to last week that somebody sold him the KVAR energy management system, or one that was similar to that. Mm-hmm. And he was sold on this, I'm going to save you electricity, I'm going to save you money. Mm-hmm. He said that ever since that unit has been installed in his house, which has been probably about 8 months now, his bill has gotten higher and higher and higher. Wow. So now he hired me to disconnect the system.
Wow.
So now these people that had paid money to have them installed are now
paying to get
it removed.
Yeah. So to me, it's just one of those things. Don't do it. Okay. Get the surge protection system for sure. Don't buy. Surge protection strips are great to have, mm-hmm. but those have to get replaced annually, is what is the recommendation.
Okay.
You can buy a whole house surge protection system and plug it into a breaker in the panel, and that'll protect everything in the entire house.
Gotcha. And what's the cost roughly if you were to do a job like that?
There's one that we like to use, and it's installed for about $225, $250.
Oh, okay, that's not bad.
And it comes with, I believe, a 10-year warranty on it, so it has a good protection warranty.
So for $250, you protect your appliances, your TV.
And they can get a hold of you. You can do that job for them.
Sure, yeah. Yuma Electric, we can take care of you on that for sure.
Awesome. Well, let's transition a little bit more into the solar side of things, right? Because obviously we're the solar pros, and we learned a lot today about the electric pro, right? But, go a little bit more into what you see the industry going and how is treating you, how is treating our community, because on top of, being a good investment for people and saving money, really saving money on their electric, the jobs it creates, all that. So maybe, spend a little time kind of diving into the whole spectrum of what we have with solar as a business, as a concept.
Solar, I think, is definitely a great thing to have. APS every 2 years goes up for a rate increase, mm-hmm. and every 2 years they get the rate increase.
Right.
And it's no secret that they paid millions of dollars to get their people elected that they wanted elected on the board so that they can get what they want.
Yeah.
That is no secret. But solar is definitely huge. It's going to not only put that money back in your pocket, but it's something that is definitely kind of taken away that future increase from APS. Right. 3 things that I tried to tell everybody when I was actually installing was, number 1, try to get the system to go 100% of your electric bill. That is something that's really key. I know that a lot of people really can't afford to do the whole entire deal, but the whole idea of getting solar, in my opinion, is to get rid of APS on that electric side altogether.
To cover your usage, right? Your full usage.
Yeah, if you can afford it, go 100% plus, so that way all you're paying is the meter reading fee or their administration fee. It's like, what, $25, $30, something like that. Yeah. Second thing I try to say is if you can afford it, buy it outright. Mm-hmm. Don't lease it if you can. I mean, if you have to, I understand, because leasing does work, mm-hmm. and it does work for those that need it. But the best ultimate option is if you can buy it outright and own it yourself. That way you're out of the gate on that.
Right. And the tax credit is where that plays a crucial role, because if you can qualify, I always tell people, if you have the tax liability and you can qualify for the 30% federal tax credit plus the state tax credit as well, then definitely
10%, right?
Yeah. So you got 30%. So let's use a $20,000 cash system, for example. You're going to buy a $20,000 solar system. And so 30%, that's $6,000 plus $1,000, because that's where the state maxes out. So that's $7,000 in tax incentives that you can use towards the purchase of your $20,000 system.
And that's just by the end of this year, because it'll
So right now
we're down next year. So we might as well take advantage of it.
30%, and then it's going to go down to 26 and some change, right? So definitely, if you want to maximize that federal tax credit incentive,
now's the time.
Before the end of the year is the time to do it. And you're right. Definitely, that's the number one way to get your ROI back if you have the tax incentive in play so that you can take advantage of it. Because if not, say for example, I get a tax return at the end of the year and I get $4,000 or $5,000 back. Well, they're not going to give you that money on top of your return.
It's not a check that you get. It's not like cash that you get at the end of the year.
And that's where a lot of people go wrong, or they promote it wrong, and people go to their accountant during tax season. They're like, okay, so I'm going to get $5,000 back from my kids. What about these $7,000 that I'm going to get back from the solar? When are they going to send me my check? It's like, wait a minute, that's not how it works. Like that. And so now they paid out for the complete cost without any incentives.
Right.
So people that can take advantage of the liability that they have on their taxes, those are the people that we strongly recommend the purchase for.
And get the right information about it.
Yeah.
Get the right information about it. Talk to your neighbors, talk to someone who has solar, or get a different quote just so you can compare, right? Because there's a lot of things that are misled or missaid throughout the years. The programs obviously have changed for the better now. That works better for the customers.
Well, and then what happens is if a situation didn't work out for somebody because they were guided under the wrong program that wasn't, didn't really work out for them because of the tax liability or whatever. See, for example, a snowbird, right? We get snowbirds. They're going to start dropping in anytime now, right? And the weather's getting better. They're here now. Okay.
They're here.
So look out, right? So they're already retired. They don't have income tax in most cases, but they have money. So what we do instead of a purchase or a lease, we do kind of like a hybrid offer where it's you pay for the system outright. The company uses the tax credit, but you get a huge discount on the system.
Absolutely.
And then now is basically the best of both worlds because you already someone already took advantage of the tax credits for you, but they rewarded you by giving you a huge discount. Because if you turn around and purchase that same system, it's going to be more expensive than that prepaid lease.
And most likely they won't get those federal tax credits.
Yeah, so it's all on has to do with your tax liability. Then we go from there. Those are the first two questions I asked. Number one, what's your tax liability? Are you paying taxes? Are you getting a return? Are you breaking even? And then the second question I ask, are you looking to finance or are you looking to pay cash for something and be done with it? So once we figure out those two answers, now we know what is the best program for them, because there's technically 4 different ways to go about it, right? We got your standard lease, your prepaid lease, your cash purchase, and your finance purchase. So depending on your situation, on those 2 answers, we determine which of the 4 squares you fit best.
It's definitely a number game as far as that goes, and I don't think that every solar company understands that. I think that there's some salespeople out there that could learn a lesson or two.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
So those guys should be watching this and taking notes, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is a numbers game, and these guys are king. They definitely know their numbers. If I were you, if you're even considering solar, I would give these guys a call and let them have the opportunity to meet with you and explain things to you. Not necessarily sell you the system, but more or less educate you and let you make the right decision.
Exactly,
explain the programs, because we've been around and we've talked to a couple of homers. First thing they say is like, "Oh, I already know so and so, and it's going bad for them." And then they know someone who's it's working out perfect for them, right? So they're like, "What is it?" It all depends.
Yeah,
and that's funny, because we tend at first that you hear bad news spreads like wildfire, right? If you have a neighborhood with 10 customers and one of them is upset, the loudest person there is going to be the person that's upset. Yeah. The other 9 is like, well, it's working great for me. I got no complaints. I'm not telling anybody that it's going good for me, but I don't go. The person that is not going good for them, they're telling everybody.
When have you ever stood in a grocery line and told the person in front of you or the person behind you the great news that you had today? Versus when have you stood in the grocery line and you were so pissed off and so upset at something that you just told everybody around you?
Right. Or you're mad at the line. They don't have enough cash registers open, whatever it is, something negative usually is what sparks up the conversation.
Absolutely.
You're absolutely right about that, man. So yeah, the negative news spreads a lot faster. So what happens is, you run into some people that are like, yeah, I heard so-and-so got a bad experience. But now there's just so many testimonials out there overwhelmingly in favor of solar that people are starting to, even if they know of somebody that didn't have the best experience because maybe they didn't work with the right representative or whatever the case might have been, at least now they know there's enough good testimonials out there to still give a solar professional an opportunity to say, okay, you know what, I've heard some good things, some bad things, but I'm going to give you an opportunity to educate me on this and see if it's the right choice for me and my house and my family, right?
Right.
And not just listen to that one case that's out there talking about how, you know, somebody screwed them over or whatever.
Well, everybody needs to understand that every single house is individual.
Exactly.
Nobody has the same electric bill month to month to month with their neighbor.
And that's
the roof, the shading.
Yes. That's one of the things I always come across. How come my neighbor pays a little bit less than me? Or why is my neighbor's quote?
Because he doesn't have 6 kids.
Right.
So every house there, it's independent, it's individual. A system gets designed specifically for your house and your needs.
Yeah, you need to have the right professional come over and talk to you, because if you have somebody that's just there just to sell you the system and really doesn't care about what happens after the fact, you're going to get burned and you're going to get mad. You're going to be one of those that says, this doesn't work for me. But if you get somebody that actually looks at your electric bill, looks at your lifestyle, looks at the size of your house, looks at your energy consumption, and can make the right determining decision of the size of the unit, and adequately do that, you're going to be a happy customer. And that's where you really need to kind of, let's not do my friend told me, or I'm going to do it because
they're giving you
do it because do it because you
a
have
free
the
box
right,
to save your on your electric.
We're going to harmonically balance your refrigerator. So you got to make the right decisions, and you don't have the right decisions if you don't have the right information. So make sure that you get a hold of these guys right here. Get a hold of Cesar. Let them help you to get educated, and then you can make the right decisions from there.
Well, thank you, sir, man. It's been a pleasure having you today on the show.
Your time. Absolutely.
We're gonna have to do something else, man. You're good for TV, for radio. Jeff, he's good in public. He grabs the microphone. He wins prizes when he has to speak, man. So
that was awesome, man. Yeah, shout out to the Yes for that.
Yeah, Yuma Entrepreneur Show. So
that was awesome. We had a great time with that for sure.
Absolutely, man. Well, with that, it wraps up another episode of Solar Pros. Can't wait to see you on the next one.
Till the next one.
All right. Have a good day.